Hello, everyone, and welcome to Love is Blurry, our Love is Blind recap podcast here on Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. I'm your host, Javier, and I'm so excited to be back. And I'm joined by my co host, as always. I convinced him to come back. Every season he says he's not going to come back, but we know my boy's going to be back. Isaiah, what's up, Isaiah? How are you?
I'm good. I can't escape this terrible show. I keep thinking oh, I'm going to be done. I don't have to watch this anymore. But we're here again, Javier won. And, we're here also with a third co-host this time, which is pretty exciting. We got Rawan here as well. Rawan, how you doing?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited. I love the show, unlike Isaiah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rawan. As me and Isaiah have so much fun here, but we're so excited to have a new voice on the podcast, new set of eyes on the show, and excited to get into this season.
I got hot takes, and I love red flags, so I have a lot to say.
So this is the show for you. Perfect. No wonder you love it, Rawan.
It really is.
All right, y'all. So we are on season 6 of Love is Blind, in case you did not know, and they dropped 6 episodes, which is the most they've ever dropped on the first drop. Sometimes people complain about how the pods last a long time and how that kind of killed momentum. But this time they said, screw it, we're going to drop the pods and we're going to start the honeymoon phase. So we got all of that. So we have a lot to cover this episode. But so the way we're going to do this is the way we've done it in the past. We're kind of going to go over every couple's journey, the ones who made it to the engagement part. We're going to share our thoughts, etc. And then we'll go from there. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start with, I feel like there's some couples that have a bit more drama, a bit more juice to them than others. And some who don't really have a lot going on. So we'll leave those for a little bit later. So I want to start with a couple who I think there's a lot to say about. Let's start with AD and Clay.
All right. Ooh. For those who haven't seen them, this is AD and Clay. This couple is very interesting because it started out like an unorthodox to like a love triangle, actually, to really like look into it, where it was really AD. She was like the prize here, and then you got Clay and you got Matt, and they're kind of like battling for AD's love, fortunately. Rawan, how you feel about this whole little love triangle with all this?
Okay, so AD is the main character of the show. I mean, that's undeniable. So I think there are whole other couples that are only on the show because they had drama with AD in the middle. Like, that's it. But I like them. I mean, she's great. They're the best looking people on the show by far. Clay is like, I like Clay. To me, I think he's the best guy on the show. So I'm happy she ended up with him. So he goes on a journey. I think they're cute. I have hope for these two. They're my number one match.
Okay, interesting, Rawan. Okay, well, I don't know. So for me, the way I see it is I love AD. I think she's awesome. And Clay is growing on me. When I first saw Clay, the first episode, we get this whole conversation about him talking about what do you look like, basically. And I was like, well, this is already a red flag for me. Like, how are we starting Love is Blind asking this woman how she looks? So I was glad that AD did not play that game. She was like, listen, if that's the game you want to play, I'm going to walk out. So I really like how AD handled that. But, as the episodes have gone on, Clay has grown on me. I do feel he's starting to change. But, something that I do feel is Love is Blind the show you come on to like grow and change? Or should you come in as someone who seems like AD, who seems a bit more understanding of her emotions and what she wants, as opposed to Clay, who seems like he's kind of finding himself? Like, do we think that's the right approach to Love is Blind? That's why I'm a little bit weary about Clay. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, you're not wrong. The thing I like about Clay is he's open to change. So some of these other guys, they think they know it all or they're perfect and they're just gross. But he's a big idiot. But when somebody gives him constructive criticism, he takes it and he kind of moves on. And I think he has a good attitude. So that's why I have hope for him and them together, because she's willing to check him and he's willing to take it, which I think is great.
There was one dynamic that I kind of compared the two of them to. If you watch Big Brother, I know it's a completely different show, but there's this couple, which is Bailey and Swaggy, and I felt like they had a lot of that kind of chemistry too, where it's like Swaggy's a lot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he is very passionate and he has a big heart on his sleeve. And I couldn't tell if Clay was like that at first, because he was like, my ego and I'm used to getting whatever I want. And I'm like, okay. But after you like a couple episodes, it's like, all right, like I feel like I know him. Like he's very consistent. It doesn't feel fake. At least you're getting what you get, you know. And I think AD is kind of like bringing the better side out, where he's like calming him down and like, yo, like he's bringing the sense of reassurance and confidence, and she's bringing like the soothingness and like the conversation. And I think it could go a long way if handled correctly, you know. On the other side, you got this Matt guy who was just like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? Because I felt like I couldn't tell how I felt about him at first, because he was very quiet in the pods. He was just like keeping to himself. And then this guy was like the Riz master over here in the pods, like craziest pickup lines I've ever seen. We get hit with this crazy blindside after we see him like basically convince AD that he's the one, to find out he's using the same pickup lines on other girls. And I was like, where did this come from? You know, like we didn't get to see the other girl. I forget what her name was. I don't know if you guys remember her name.
Amy. It was Amy.
No, her name is the same name as AD. They're both called Amber.
Sorry, Amber. Was it Amber? No,
Amber.
It was Amy.
It was Amber.
Yeah, they're both Amber.
Yes, yeah. But like we never got to see the convos with him and Amber, so I don't really know what's going on there. But yeah, he was so convincing in the edit a little bit though. I started to second guess, like, is he telling the truth? We didn't get to see anything. Like, how'd you guys feel about that?
I mean, for me, so Clay, I feel like is honest. He says dumb shit, but I feel like he's telling the truth. Even the way he like sits on the couch, he's sort of looking forward. This Matt guy was always like laying down, looking away half the time. He's not even real. I don't know what he was doing on the show. It was so weird. But then that whole thing with Amber, I can't believe they didn't show it. So either they're going to show it later, or there was this scene where they like zeroed in on AD's journal. And part of me thinks like Amber, I thought that the reveal was going to be that Amber read like AD's diary and was like a joke. But then when she confronted Matt, he was kind of like, he didn't deny it. And then he ran off and said he had to go find Amber. There needs to be more to the story, because like, I don't understand what the deal was with him. But I love that he was there just for Clay's reaction when he found out that he was the third in their love triangle.
Yeah, no, I think from jump for me, I thought Matt was kind of like a weirdo. Like he jumps in and he's talking to these women. He's like, "Don't ask me questions. Like I don't really want to open up to y'all. I want y'all to give me all the information." I'm like, "What is this? Like, what are you talking about? How you come on the show and not want to have like a back and forth conversation?" He says he's uncomfortable of the word love, and I'm just like, this man's a walking red flag. Like, we need to get him out. So honestly, when Clay was super shocked that AD was into Matt, I also was super shocked, and I almost kind of agreed with Clay. I'd feel some type of way too. Like, what, me and that guy? Like, that guy's been such a weirdo this whole time. Why are we even competing? So, do I think Clay overreacted? Yes, but I do think it was like a little funny, because I do feel like I would also feel some type of way as well. Like, that's who my competition is, Matt. So I kind of understood where Clay was coming from, even if he was doing a lot. But that's kind of just who Clay is. Like, he just does a lot. He says a lot. That's just his personality. But yeah, Matt is a weirdo. We got the moment where like where Matt, when he learned that Amber walked out, he walked out as well. So I'd like to think that we're going to see them again. You know, this show loves to bring people back when they join the real world / the reunion. So I do foresee them bringing back Matt and Amber and something happening there. Just because some of these other couples also don't really have a lot going on at the moment. So you know how they like to throw stuff in to like keep the show going. So I can see them bringing these two back.
My friend actually thought that he was an industry plant, like production put him in, because he was so ready to leave, you know. And I don't know, like this guy just doesn't feel like a real person. I'm very confused. Like, is he a psychopath? Is he like built for?
Yes, I agree. He is definitely.
There's something really off with this guy. Like he's he had something. When when the one woman was like, "I'll pick number 4," he's like, "Too many people picked 4. Pick a new number."
Like what the hell?
That was great. I did love that.
He convinced me to root for him. He was like, America loves underdogs, and I think I'm the under. Like, if you don't get out of here. Anyway.
Yeah, he really thought he was America's favorite. Like, bro, you are giving like psycho vibes. No,
I ain't gonna hold you. He almost got me until we saw what he was doing. He got me for a sec. I was like, oh, like he had good pickup lines, but it is what it is with Matt. But anyway. Outside of that, so back to the main focus, which is this couple.
Yes.
You know, eventually, you know, they get over it. You know, they have conversations. They realize that they want to be with each other. They get married. Obviously, you know, Clay proposed to her. AD passes the look test that he was talking about. You know, they were cool. You know, how did you guys feel about them in person once they got to like the honeymoon phase? You know, there was a whole lot that we got to see. We got to see them have their conversations about like, you know, 80s past a little bit, and you know, Clay being a little too hard with his delivery sometimes. We also got to see how they reacted with the other couples. Or do we want to save that portion for after we talk about the beginning, Javier? Do we want to save resorts, like the meetup after that?
I think we could. We could continue on this, and then some other resort stuff we could also talk about later when we get to other couples. I feel, but not because this is what I also agree with you. Like, I think this is a natural progression.
Yeah. But how you guys feel about it? Like their chemistry in person?
I thought they had the best kind of chemistry in person. I think they both found each other genuinely attractive, and they seem to be into each other, which I can't say for a lot of the other couples.
That is true. You know, I will say, you know, I'm glad that like AD is so beautiful, because I fear that Clay would have had it would have been so awkward if AD was not who she is, if that makes sense, y'all. Yeah. Like if AD would have pulled certain other people who said they look like Megan Fox, which we'll get to that. God. Like, luckily AD didn't do anything crazy and like overhype her looks, and AD is just such a gorgeous girl, so I'm glad it worked out. Yeah. However, I did feel a little. The whole conversation about the gym was a little weird to me. You know, they're talking about going to the gym, and AD's like, if I stop going to the gym, when I get pregnant, if I gain weight, like, are you still going to love me? And the way Clay handled that was a little bit weird for me. How did you guys feel about that whole conversation of him saying, like, I'm going to give you tough love because I want you to basically be the best version of yourself? And AD is saying, like, you could have done this in a nicer way. I don't know if we need to pick sides, but how did you guys feel about that conversation? Because it does seem like the looks came up again, even though it seems like we got past it when they first met.
They felt like, I don't know. So everyone's different. I feel like that's just Clay's language. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm personally like, I'm not going to tell my partner like in a gym thing. That's crazy. But with like friendships and all that stuff, like I'm a tough love kind of person, right? I'm very blunt and like honest with like, that's how I am as a friend or with anything. Like if you want me to be a good person to you, I'm going to be honest with you. The way he handled it, I'm like, I don't know about all that. But he apologized for it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's also a kind of like an idea of like what his character is. You know, like she said how she felt about it. And he was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I apologize. Like, you know, I am going to push you to be your better self, but I'm not going to be like as, you know, in your face as I was just now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Clay in comparison, and you know, as far as we've seen, you know, I'm not going to jump the gun, but as far as we've seen these first 6 episodes, Clay is more open and willing to like adjust to his partner versus a lot of other people I've seen in the other 5 seasons of the show. You know, so like I've seen some discourse on social media about how much of an asshole Clay is. It's like, no, he just has a large, passionate personality. You know, I think this is an excellent couple right now. I think like they're really like giving king and queen like energy from what I've seen. I don't want to jump the gun, but from what I've seen, I like what I see, you know, so I'm gonna give him a pass. He apologized for it, and AD obviously didn't feel some type of way. So, you know, why would I get mad when they seem fine? You feel me? Yeah. So,
I mean, here's a hot take. I had no problem with it. I had 2 kids. I got real fat both times. It was a big mess. But I mean, I just feel like the thing I like about him is he's honest, and I didn't think she cares. She's a super fit girl. If she was somebody that was uncomfortable with her body, who didn't go to the gym a lot, I think it would have felt more inappropriate. But she talks about how her body is squats and Jesus, and that she works at it. And I think that he was being over the top, which is part of his personality. And I kind of thought it was funny, but she felt so comfortable to say, you can't talk to me like that. And he's like, I know. Like, I just kind of thought it was funny, but It was kind of cute. I didn't. I mean, if he's seriously gonna like be mean to her if she gains a bunch, but I just didn't get that vibe. I just thought he's like, you don't want to look like that. Look at you now. Like you don't work that hard if you don't care about the way you look. And I honestly didn't mind it. I know I'm supposed to be like Clay is horrible.
No.
No.
Listen, this is why Rawan's on the podcast. I'm like,
I think he's cute. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I think he's cute. I'm like letting him get by with anything.
I love Rawan, man.
I will say, I do want to highlight one thing for me, like probably was the highlight for Clay for me in these 6 episodes. And it's kind of when after they're talking about the gym, they then start talking about like how AD lost her father and how she feels very insecure about walking down the aisle without her dad. And I thought Clay handled the whole marriage conversation beautifully. Clay essentially goes to her, like marriage is what we make out of it. Like it doesn't have to be whatever way society or anyone says it has to be. And then he mentions his her brothers and says, your brothers were really close with you as well, and they can walk you down the aisle. And, I just thought it was a very heartwarming moment for me, and it really showed me a different side of Clay that I hadn't seen before. So I think that Clay won a lot of points with me when he had that whole conversation about how their marriage is going to work for them and that he's ready to walk down that path with her. And I really love that moment from Clay. So I want to give shout out to Clay for that moment.
I forgot about that. That was actually so sweet. I guess for me, Clay, he just feels honest. Like he's not perfect, but yes. I also don't think he's a liar. I'd rather like have a wolf in wolf's clothing than like somebody who's pretending to be somebody they're not. Exactly. So you kind of know what you're dealing with.
This makes you very happy. I thought I was going to have to defend Clay here, but
no, I love it.
we like.
I was ready, bro. I was ready.
Call me. No, just kidding.
If it don't work out, Rawan's number.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So do we have any other thoughts on AD and Clay before we move on to any of the other couples? It seems like we're liking their journey so far. I think that seems to be the consensus here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have high hopes for them. So if they end up just like a total shit show, I'll have egg on my face. But this is the couple that I see saying yes.
Geneva said, y'all are Clay stands. What? We rep Clay over here, okay?
Hold on, I am not a Clay stan. I do not want that title.
You heard it.
When I see red flags, I paint my nails red.
Okay.
All right, so we can move on from AD and Clay, and we can talk about our next couple, Amy and Johnny.
Oh, okay. Oops.
Okay.
Which one is that? These guys right here?
No, that's Jimmy and Chelsea. Those two, yeah.
Okay,
no, that's Jeremy. No, that's Jeremy and Laura.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Is it
Amy? This is Amy and Johnny.
Oh, they're boring. Okay.
Oh, that's why I wanted to get them out the way in the middle.
Okay.
Like, quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have Amy and Johnny here. They honestly, I think they were actually introduced in episode 2.
No, I think they got married. They got engaged in episode 2.
Yeah, they got introduced and engaged. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Both things. I don't think they were mentioned in episode 1 because I don't have anything on my notes about them, but that might also just be their relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have Amy and Johnny. They make it to the altar. He was the first one to propose, actually. Shout out to him to being the first one of the season to propose to Amy. How do we feel about this two? Do we even have any feelings about these two at the moment?
I think she's a little bit of a weirdo.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, she's all my dad had to beg people from church to come to my party. I'm like, what are these stories? They were a little odd, but I think she seems sweet, and I do worry that she's not attracted to him while I think he is to her. I think he seems great. Like, he seemed like a really nice guy. He seemed very into her. They both seem sort of ready to be in a relationship. So I think that these two are that like super boring couple that they're not going to have a lot of screen time, but they're going to kind of go to for advice from other people a bit, but they were kind of bland overall.
I don't know how to feel about them. Like, we didn't really see much because they don't really do much. They seem like, I think that their personalities mesh well, but as Rawan said, I don't know if she's going to be attracted to him. Like, if I had to do like a confessional count of like how many times she said I date like darker skinned guys, usually it was like 4 or 5 times. Like, how many times are you going to say this in the confessionals?
Yeah.
Like unless like the people are doing her dirty, but still she keeps answering. I would never go after someone like Josh in the real world. Like, I'm usually like with like darker guys, ethnic guy. Okay, I hear you, but like, I don't know. Like, we'll see. I don't have an opinion on them because they didn't do anything. They're just lovey-dovey, and that's not bad. Unfortunately for us, I watch this for sometimes the love, but mess. You know what I'm saying? So the show's not going to put the camera on them unless like they're giving us love and entertainment. Like Tiff and Brett, they were boring, but you wanted to see them fall in love. They're that fun boring. These two, they're just like, they're just boring. So we'll see. Maybe my red flag is like they're having too much fun. They're too nice with each other. They're going to have at some point a hiccup. I want to see how they handle that because we haven't seen them face any kind of adversity within the relationship yet. But I'm 50-50 on it. We'll see. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you guys touched upon pretty much, because unfortunately there's not a lot to touch upon them. They did have that moment, like you guys mentioned, of Amy saying that she's not his, that he's not her typical type, etc. So maybe we'll see that come up again when they join the real world. But yeah, I agree with you, Rawan. Johnny seems like a pretty nice guy. He has no red flags at the moment. I do again fear, like you said, that maybe he might be more invested in Amy than she is in him. But hopefully they learn to love each other, and we have like a nice little love story here between these two who don't actually have any drama. Because I feel like every season we have that couple. So maybe there'll be this couple, but I don't know. Something about Amy gives me that once they join the real world, Amy's gonna find something to like get a little annoyed about. She just have that energy from her. So I'm like Isaiah said, I'm here for the mess. So I hope that we do see a little bit of tension between these two, just because at the end it'll be a better couple. And
I just remember that she said her brother was her person, and I'm like, wait, what? That's so weird. I don't know.
It's kind of concerning. Red flags. Okay.
So I'm interested to see the family, like their family dynamic. But it is. She did say a lot about if I saw him in the bar, he wouldn't be my type. I'm like, I think he's really cute. Like, there's some other people on this show that I can understand, but this guy, come on.
Shout out Johnny. He seemed like a cool guy. I would hang out with Johnny.
I like him too. He's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, so hopefully we'll see more of them, and maybe they'll get more of a storyline moving forward. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I think we've covered Amy and Johnny there. Not much else to really say about them. We can move on to Kenneth and Brittany, which I think are an interesting couple who don't necessarily have a lot going on, it seems, but it does seem like there is something brewing there, which Isaiah has pulled them up. This is Kenneth and Brittany. They're both very young as well. I think Brittany's 24 and Kenneth is 25. Wow.
Really?
So they're a very young couple, very interesting in that sense. So how do you guys feel about Kenneth and Brittany? What are your initial thoughts after these 6 episodes?
They both look a lot older than I thought they were.
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw their ages.
I was too. My eyes.
They act very mature. Oh, one thing I will say about a majority, if not all the couples to a degree, this is probably one of the more like mature acting casts that I've seen in a while, because there's usually like a lot of mess going on. These are a pretty tame first 6 episodes, and I see why they dropped 6 instead of giving us like 5 or 4. These two, they seem fine. Maybe it's too fine. I feel like something's going to happen. There's a recurring theme that's starting to come up, which I've never seen them actually tackle, which is interracial dating, which is very interesting because it seems like they're very comfortable in their situation. I don't really foresee many issues coming between the both of them. I'm starting to wonder, how are their families and friends going to react? Because I'm hearing stuff from Kenneth about worrying about stuff like that, and I'm hearing stuff about Brittany possibly like, I don't really care what people think. What are y'all families like? Now I'm starting to wonder, like, are they going to accept both y'all? Especially Kenneth. I'm starting to think like his family and friends are not going to be with this, So I'm just like, I'm getting worried about like it might be messy once they get back home. But other than that, I mean, they seem very like comfortable. I really liked how like Kenneth in her dynamics were in the pods and even outside when he was like pulling up a chair for her. You know, seems like a gentleman, you know what I'm saying? And she seems like she has a lot of love for the guy. So gotta see what happens. I don't know yet. It's it seems perfect, but maybe a little too perfect. There's something brewing, and I'm just feeling it in the air.
You're correct, because these two are weird. Let me tell you something about that. Okay? Kenneth is what, 25, and he's a school principal. It's like, wait, how? When did you become a school principal?
Right.
I need to understand more about this. And she is an ex-teacher, and she's like 24. When did you quit your teaching job? And she talks about how
your first job?
Like, what, you already like finished school, became a teacher, and you're an ex-teacher? And she's her whole thing about, you know, I want to have these kids and I can just be like, go ask your dad. She is like one of these girls that just wants to get married and like not work and like have somebody do everything for her. I mean, listen, that sounds amazing. I made a mistake. I got a good career. Now I'm trapped working for the rest of my life. Good for you, whatever your name is. It's like, stay a loser and find somebody to take care of you. I support it. But this guy, he wanted her to be blonde. When he found out she was a brunette, he was not happy. He came on the show because he wants to date a little like white blonde girl, and his family doesn't like it. And this is his excuse to do it and be like, we fell in love behind the pods. That's my heart. And that's how he's going to sell it to the family. So I'm dying to meet his family. I love it. And her, she doesn't care. I don't think she cares about, like, I actually think both of them don't care about race. I think they're both very nice people. They seem sweet and they seem sweet together. But she just wants to find a husband so she never has to go to work. And he's just trying to find a way to tell his family he wants a white girl without them judging him because they fell in love in the pods. I got their number. I know these two.
Rawan is here to clock people's tea, y'all. Thank you so much. I'm impressed right now with you, Rawan. That was amazing. But let's see, what can I add to this beautiful conversation after Rawan just laid it down? So I do think Kenneth and Brittany seem like they get along really well. They seem like a cute couple. You know, I like how attentive Kenneth is to Brittany, and it seems like she's really about that as well. They seem attracted to each other. I will say the whole race thing is definitely going to come into play, it appears, when they move into the real world. But I do think it's interesting. I do want to note that it was Brittany who in the pod asked him like what's his ethnicity, which I thought was weird to even ask someone that. That's similar to like asking someone like, what do you look like?
She asked what his parents' ethnicity was.
Yeah, she's trying to be sneaky, bro. Yeah.
But yeah, so either way, I feel like that's like a very weird thing to ask someone, similar to like when Clay asked AD, like, what is your body like? Come on, this is not the point of the show. No. So I do think that maybe low-key Brittany does actually care about it, and she's like doing a good job of playing it off, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when they join the real world. But no, I didn't get the vibe that Kenneth really wanted to date a white woman, so that was a great take from you. Because we get when they all meet up, Kenneth is talking to AD for a moment, and they're basically talking to each other. This is during the honeymoon phase. All the couples get to meet, and they're basically talking about, Kenneth, what are people going to say about you dating a white woman? And apparently, this is the first white woman he dates, etc. So I think it will be interesting to see that dynamic and see what comes out of it, because he does seem to be talking about like. When he sees AD and Clay together, he seems so like happy for them. It almost seems like he kind of also wanted the black love that they have. So I thought that was interesting to see from Kenneth. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna get the juice from these couple. Like right now, everything seems good, but once they join the real world, we're gonna see a lot more things I feel develop within their relationship. So I can't wait to see what happens with that. But at the moment, I think they seem sweet, and I hope it continues to flourish.
If that was true, like he could have found it. There was plenty of them in there, but like,
I mean,
like he heard the accent, he was like, "That's the one."
I mean, I'm being harsh on these two, but I do think they're sweet. I do think they're really, really young.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think they're super young. To like, I was surprised when I saw their ages. Like, what are you doing on the show?
It was similar to season 5 where I forgot his Milton. Milton was super young too, and he
was so cute.
The only ones to get married.
I know.
Which, by the way, Milton and I don't even remember her name. They're still together, and they seem to be
Lydia.
private, so Lydia.
Shut
Milton and
up.
Lydia
the kid
are
or
Lydia and
mom?
Milton are together?
They're together and thriving, so good for them.
Lydia was wild.
Lydia was wild.
No, a little too much. I'm not. I was not a fan, but okay.
Oh my god.
The only other thing I want to bring up about Brittany and Kenneth was, so we get a moment of them. They like get into bed together, and Kenneth says that every night, I want to talk to you every night. We need to unpack the whole day, and you got to tell me how you feel, what do you like, and what you don't like. So I don't know. To me, that felt very intense. How did you guys feel about that? Like, let's say your partner said that every night we have to talk about how we feel and blah blah blah, as opposed to like, to me, it's like let it flow naturally. I don't know. That felt intense to me. So how did you guys feel about that moment between Kenneth and Brittany?
It's whatever. I think like they're not, it doesn't seem like they're really doing anything physical until marriage. So like, you know, they gotta stay close somehow, right? Like they're talking. And so I mean, look, if it worked for them, it worked for them. I've never really seen someone like, especially on this show, just try like this kind of attempt at this show, but I don't have a problem with it. As long as they're happy, whatever. You know, like who am I to judge at this point? But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that won't last. It kind of felt, I feel like some of these people are performing a little bit for the cameras. Like it's, you know, like what's the right thing to say? Let's, you know, this and that. But I just remembered that she said one of the funniest things that we saw in all these 6 episodes when she said, he identifies as a black man or something like that. Or he identifies as African. I can't remember what you said, but I was like, he identifies as that. I was laughing so hard. I think these two are actually like super young and dumb and like trying to say the right things in front of the camera. I do think they're sweet, but I you can tell like I felt like they looked older and they were trying to act older, but it just a little bit performative. So we'll see, but they're funny.
It's always like that till they get to the real world part of it. Then like things start crumbling. So we'll see.
Shit hits the fan.
It does. It does.
All right. So that's Kenneth and Brittany. So we can move on to another couple who has a bit more drama, a bit more meat to them. We could talk a little bit about Laura and Jeremy. So how do you guys feel about Laura and Jeremy after this 6 episodes? I also think if we talk about Laura and Jeremy, we do have to touch a little bit upon Sarah Ann, which was Jeremy's other potential love interest. So how do you feel about Jeremy, Laura, etc.? Let me hear your guys' thoughts.
Go ahead, Rawan. Go ahead.
I mean, for me, this is the couple that's only on here, so we could have had that scene with like AD on the bean dip. Like, I don't even know what they're doing here. I feel like they have the least story. I can't believe he ended up with her. He was like, I mean, all I remember about their pod talk was him about how he wants this big family Christmas. And she was basically like the Grinch, like, I hate Christmas. I'm like, what? How are these two together? These are like my biggest question mark of all the couples. I don't get them at all.
They felt more like a work relationship. Like, you know, people have like work husbands and wives. Like it felt like that, especially during their conversations. It didn't really feel, I mean, they had their heart to hearts and stuff, but like it always felt like a friendship. Even when like he proposed to her, it just didn't feel like anything other than like, let's go have a vacation real quick. You know, I feel like he's a lot more into her than like she's into him, you know, because he did have the pick of the litter. He had 2 girls, went with Laura, and I mean, like, shout out to y'all, but I don't know. It just felt weird. It doesn't feel like a relationship. That's for sure. It just feels like 2 people who can tolerate being around each other, and especially with the whole bean dip situation, I'm just like, oh, like, where are we going with this? I don't know. Don't see it working out. I feel like he's the type to like separate himself after this, like, because he seemed very uncomfortable. Oh, I want to go home after this. I'm just like, oh, bro, like, I don't, if they don't sleep in the same room, I'm not going to be shocked. Like, it just doesn't look like it's going to go down a good direction, in my opinion. I don't know about, how do you feel about it, Javier?
Yeah, no, I think you guys put it correctly. Like, these two have a very weird relationship to me. I don't necessarily see them, like, when they're together, they don't seem like compatible at all. So I think it's going to be very awkward when we move into the real world for these two. There also seems to be a lot of drama with it seems like Jeremy's a little bit immature. Like he makes like fart noises, and he was like popping balloons and jumping in with his clothes. And Laura seemed very irritated. They had this whole argument, like I wouldn't call it an argument, but Laura was like, no more Hawaiian shirts and like no more motorcycles. So I don't know. It just seems like these two just are not, like Jeremy's just a different type of human that is just not compatible with the type of men that it seems like Laura normally dates. And I don't know if she'll be able to look past these things. So I also thought that was weird, the whole like immature thing. I will say they did have one sweet moment when they were like talking about, you know, the whole like motorcycle thing. And he's basically saying like he'll help her dad fix his motorcycle. So they had a sweet moment there. And Jeremy was also, I thought it was also sweet when Jeremy was like, you know, I like to play around and like mess around with you, but I understand when things are serious. So it does seem like hopefully they do have some kind of understanding that there are like boundaries, that things that, you know, if he won't push Laura's buttons too much. So maybe that can make the relationship work. I don't know. I'm trying to look for positives for these two, and it's like hard, but I don't know. I thought that was a sweet moment between them as well. But yeah, I don't really see this lasting long term, unfortunately. And then his relationship with Sarah Ann, I didn't really know what was going on with there either. I honestly didn't feel like Jeremy had a strong bond with either of them. No. So I don't know what Jeremy was doing on this show, unfortunately, but maybe it'll work out for them in the end. Because
yeah, I think he liked Sarah Ann more, but I think she really lost him when she started talking about her like Botox droop eye and laughing lips and her followers on TikTok. I think he's like, what the hell is this girl? So I think that was like a little much for him. But he's the one I think is performing a lot. Like he was being so annoying. And I'm like, please tell me you're doing this because you don't know what to do when the camera's around. Like if you're actually like this, run for your life, Sarah. Or no, what's her name? Laura. But I think that these two they're like, I think they're attracted to each other. I think if they saw each other at a bar, like they would hook up. But I think they have like no like actual connection. So I can't believe they got together the way that they got together.
Yeah,
exactly.
I will also say, I mean, I'm not going to call Sarah a cloud chaser, but like, she seemed like she did not care that he didn't propose to her. She was like, "Oh, okay, well, good luck." Like, ooh,
she treated it like a job interview. Like, what can I do better next time? And thank you for taking these hours to talk to me. It's a great company. If a new position comes up soon, call me back.
Okay.
But I mean, she's a patriot. She doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah, Sarah Ann was, in the previews we do see. So Sarah Ann, we're not done with her in the previews. They do show she'll come back, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there in the future. But yeah, no, Sarah Ann, I agree. She seemed something was a little off about her. I remember like the first conversation they had. Sarah Ann is like, "Does crazy scare you?" I'm like, "What?" Like, why would you ask someone? Do they want a crazy? And like, it almost seems to me like when someone asks that is like, what kind of like toxic relationship have you been in that like you want a crazy? Like, I don't know. It was very weird to how you start meeting someone that way. So Sarah Ann, something is a little off there. I don't know if she is a cloud chaser, like you said, Isaiah, but we'll see as the season continues because I don't think we're done seeing some.
She'll be back.
She'll be back. I think that she's gonna date Bartise after the end of the season. Do you guys remember him?
No one dates
Something
Bartise.
About that.
No one dates Bartise. That's what I've learned.
And she seems like a Bartise kind of girl.
Oh Lord, I don't know who I feel better. I don't know who has the better deal there, Bartise or Sarah Ann.
They both seem terrible. I think they're perfect.
All right, so I guess we'll see what happens with Laura and Jeremy and the eventual return of Sarah Ann when they move into the real world.
Yeah, I love when the third comes back. It's my favorite.
Yeah, so it always has a good drama, especially to like this couple who like these two don't seem to have any like real interpersonal like drama going on. So that third person really adds that dynamic, layer to the relationship.
It would be funny if he actually left and went home.
Okay, listen, that Josh and Jackie thing from like 2 seasons ago really opened up the doors for like these like, all right, let's bring them back. Look, it's early enough for these two to detach and then like him go back to Sarah Ann. Like it could happen. I don't know, but like it's early enough that like I'm not going to count anything out.
I mean, it happened with Irina and what's his face when Irina left him.
Bliss,
and then he got Bliss. Yeah, so you never know. We might be seeing in episode 7 Sarah Ann and Jeremy. So
that'd be crazy.
Yeah. God, that guy that Bliss married is so weird.
So weird. Thank you, Rawan. I needed you on the podcast because everyone was obsessed.
You didn't
with
like
this guy.
Zach?
Oh my god!
Shout out Zach,
Like
bro.
Zach?
Shout out Zach.
You're
Shout out
so
Zach.
weirdo. He like
Thank
made me
you, Rawan.
uncomfortable.
Oh, I
I
wish
don't
you were
think I
here
could
when
be
we
in a
were
room with
covering.
He
you.
was up in his league, but he was a nice guy. I'm gonna give him
Nah,
that.
he's
He
weird.
was a nice guy.
The
I'm
way he
crying.
was singing, like, and he
Oh
wasn't
my god,
even
the
like
singing
joking.
was so freaking cringe. I could not do it.
They're about to have a baby, I think, right?
Yes,
They are.
yes.
The first Love is Blind
Yeah,
baby.
Bliss was
so-
out of his league. I'm not gonna lie, but listen, shout out Zach. Y'all hate him. Shout out Zach. I like Zach.
The
Zach,
Lachey's
you're
are
weird.
finally getting their Love is Blind baby
Oh,
because they asked
God.
every damn reunion.
You know
Fire
what?
the
Zach,
Lachey's.
Bliss loving Zach proves that love is blind.
And mic drop. We should end right there because that. But all right, so let's move back to the couples this season. So we can actually move on to our last couple who has had the most drama and will, I feel, continue to have the most drama.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Chelsea.
Oh my god.
And by extension, we are going to talk about Jessica as well, who was the third in this whole relationship. So let's hear it from you guys. How do you guys feel about Jimmy? How do you feel about Chelsea? How do you feel about Jimmy and Chelsea? There's a lot to unpack here, so I want to hear y'all's thoughts.
This is a shit show, bro. Like, oh my god. I think first of all, it's crazy that Jimmy had two girls coming after him as well.
Thank
That
you.
was insane. Because even like, all right, you don't see the looks, the personality, like, I didn't see it. I thought Jimmy was weird, and it's still there, but like outside the pod, I'm starting to think that he's not the problem anymore. He just doesn't know how to communicate. I can't tell, but maybe I'm going all over the place. First of all, I want to address the girl. What's her name? Jessica. Him and Jessica. I don't know. How do you feel about her one? Because I understood him being like, because she revealed that she has a daughter like later than probably she should have. But like, should he have gone with Jessica over Chelsea? Because Chelsea seems like I don't know. She seems like a lot as well. So I can't tell how I feel about all this.
I mean, these two are ridiculous. First of all, Jimmy is awful. Like, he has no banter. His chat was terrible.
Yeah.
He had nothing interesting to say. His accent is not cute. His pants are weird. His haircut is the worst thing I've ever seen. And he gaslights himself. He spends the whole time like just lying, hoping he believes himself. The dude is odd. But the fact that two women wanted him, and I think others wanted him too, was bananas to me because I never thought anything he said was interesting at all. But this girl, what's her name again? Megan Fox?
Chelsea.
No, she's not Chelsea. Chelsea. Oh, she's Chelsea?
She's Chelsea.
Yeah.
Jessica's the other brunette.
And the other one's Jessica. Chelsea only wanted him because she wanted the guy that the other girl wanted. Like, I'm convinced of that.
Wow,
I think that she actually liked Trevor more, but she was so excited that the guy that Jessica liked her, that she was all in on Jimmy because it was sort of this competition thing. I actually think she seems kind of nice, this Chelsea girl, and I think she's cute. And she does have the same eye color as Megan Fox, but they look absolutely nothing alike. Nothing. But I don't know why she brought that up, but I actually think he just picked her because she said she looked like Megan Fox. That's it.
Yeah.
The minute she said she looked like Megan Fox, the man heard nothing else. He wasn't thrilled about being a stepdad. I don't blame him. That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You've even met these people and now you're, getting married and having a kid. But I think he kind of would have come around to it if he wasn't thinking that Megan Fox was behind door number 2. Like, that was it. He heard nothing else. He cared about nothing else. He was just like, I'm going to get with Megan Fox.
It was wild when he had the confession after seeing her. She's all happy. She looks nothing like Megan Fox. I was like, oh,
she lied.
But he seems like he's open to like making this work though.
He's not.
Like,
no.
You think it's placating, telling everyone like she's awesome and all that? You think it's
he's placating himself. He's a total psychopath.
Okay.
He's like, the amount of times he has to say, I don't care if anybody ever said to me, it doesn't matter to me how you look. I'm like, okay, you think I'm ugly. I mean, like, wake up, dummies. If they say that to you, they don't like you. And then he keeps walking around saying, I'm the happiest one here. We have the best relationship. It's like, what? Are you okay, sir? I don't think you are.
Delusion. I mean,
I started to feel sorry for her in the
Yeah.
because it was a lot. Like it was, I don't know. How many times can somebody tell you they don't care what you look like before you realize that they're telling you you're ugly? I don't know.
She dropped the ball with fumbling Trevor. I really do agree
Trevor
with that.
was the biggest fumble. Listen,
I don't understand how
Yes.
she did that, especially when she said I'm crazy about mullets. Like they literally picked this guy for you at this point. Why are you not picking him? You know? But why did she tell AD that about what he said about AD's like butt or whatever? I forget what it was. Why? And then she gets mad when they start talking. It's not like he's trying to flirt with her, but why did you even say this in the first place? You set yourself up for failure.
I don't think
so?
Jimmy's innocent. I don't
He's
think
not.
Jimmy...
No, he's not. He's not. But you set yourself up for failure because why are you doing this? You just basically, hey, go have a conversation with her. Oh my god!
I think they were drunk and she was trying to like
probably
be
messy.
cool about it. Like I think it was sort of a defense mechanism.
Okay.
But then he went over to AD and was like, "Hey, babe." I was so embarrassing.
Literally, like AD would not look at you twice, bro. Relax. She has Clay. Don't worry, Jimmy. Clay, you and Clay are not in the same league. Let's say that, Jimmy.
They were all obsessed with
Clay
AD,
was not
man.
bothered.
No.
But this Chelsea girl was standing right next to her at the bar, and later in the room, she's like, "You were looking her up and down." He's like, "You weren't anywhere near us." It was like she was literally like 2 inches away from you. He was such in like AD, like he's gonna lose it when he meets Jessica. This guy is the fakest. He's the opposite of Clay. He's the biggest liar. He tries to say all the perfect stuff, but nothing that he says is honest in any way. So I prefer like a Clay. Like, yeah, he says the dumbest shit ever, but at least it's from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'm going to say, like, and stop me if I'm going too far, but this was like the beginning of like everyone's obsessed with AD. Everyone's having a conversation with AD. They're talking about AD's butt, the bean dip situation, Kenneth and AD having combos. AD is the star of the season. I'm just like, y'all know, like it's so easy. Like she is the star. Everyone's
this
talking
is the AD show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all their storylines revolve around her. Like without AD, what would they have?
Yeah, she's literally it. It's crazy. But I try to get that out there.
Truly the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you get pretty much Jimmy and Chelsea. I think they're a mess. I agree. I feel like Jimmy's trying to convince himself that he's attracted to Chelsea, and Chelsea is towards the end of episode 6. I do feel like Chelsea's doing a lot, and I feel like the whole insecurities is getting to her, and I think she is correct to feel insecure, but now it's like it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy of the whole insecurities with it. So now she's kind of pushing him away due to her feeling so insecure, even though he hasn't reassured her enough. So I do think they're like both at fault a little bit for that. But yeah, I think Jimmy's a mess. I think he said no to Jessica because she had the kid, let's be honest. Because when he sees Jessica, he's going to want to like automatically hook up with Jessica. Like, I just know he's going to be so into Jessica. And I feel kind of bad for Chelsea. I hope that Chelsea like looks back on this show. I know we're not even at the end, but I just hope that like Chelsea is able to, look back on the show and like really, not feel as insecure as she did feel on the show. As we've seen this happen with other couples in the past where throughout the show, someone makes them feel insecure and then at the end, they do seem to be better off. So hopefully this is the journey that Chelsea has and she has like a butterfly moment at the reunion because I do feel bad for her and I do think she has a lot to work through. And I don't think Love is Blind was the right show for her at the moment. It would seem to me. And Jeremy and this man just gaslighting her is not helping the situation at all. The only thing I do want to talk a little bit more about Jessica because so when I first saw Jessica, I thought that Jessica was going to be such a wild card. Like I literally tweeted like Jessica is going to make good TV. Like there's something about this girl that's just giving that she's going to make mess and she doesn't have a good TV moment. And like Jessica kind of grew on me by the end. I really like how she handled the whole Jimmy situation. She didn't, Jimmy was never really giving any emotions to anyone, which is another reason why I don't really understand why Chelsea chose him over Trevor, who was so vulnerable and like emotionally available. And like, why would you choose Jimmy? It just made no sense to me at all. But yeah, I like how Jessica, like when they had that last conversation, Jessica's like, you're not going to gaslight me. Like, I know my self-worth and I'm not going to put up with your BS. So I just want to give a shout out to Jessica because I just thought she handled that really well and she really put herself first. And props to Jessica for that because I really like that moment. So I am curious to see how it's going to be when she comes back into the show and see what else she has to add to the show. She also gave a really good line, by the way. I don't know if you guys caught that, where she goes, "You're going to need an EpiPen when you see me because he's going to be so choked." It was amazing. And like I've seen a lot of people tweet about that line too because I thought it was really funny as well. So I don't know. Jessica just gave me good TV, and I'm excited to see more Jessica, honestly. I think she's a very good reality TV person, which is another thing that I look for in these shows. So I like Jessica a lot, and I don't see Jimmy and Chelsea working either.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. For Chelsea, the insecurity totally a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like she's pushing him away. Insecurity is not attractive. Listen, ladies, no one wants to hear about how you think you're fat and ugly. They're going to just believe you. So stop saying it. So it's not good. So she's really doing herself no favors. But Jessica, I thought she was so funny when she went to break up with Jimmy. But I will say it was very clear by the end of it that she just wanted to go to the next phase of the show. Yeah. Jessica is here to be a reality TV star. And I think she's going to be. She's very beautiful. Yes. She had a good personality. And hopefully they bring her back. Maybe she'll be on Perfect Match or something. Yeah, I thought she was cute. Her lines were funny. Yes. And he is going to need an EpiPen when he sees her because no way.
He's going to gasp. It's going to be a mess.
If he calls her pretty or something in his confessional to Chelsea, if they are married somehow, he's going to look at this confessional and be like, what the hell did you say?
Yeah,
it's gonna be a mess, bro. Yeah, this has no chance of succeeding whatsoever.
None. And she really screwed up, like just leaving Trevor. Come on, Trevor.
Speaking of Trevor, did by the way, apparently the word is that Trevor is going to be cast on Perfect Match season 2.
Shut up.
So yeah, I saw that on Twitter. That is the talk of the town. So I hope he does. I think Trevor seems like a great guy. So hopefully he finds someone.
Trevor.
Yeah, he's cute. He looks like Wreck-It Ralph, but like it's growing up.
He shaved the mullet, so Twitter was like fawning over. Just so everyone knows, Twitter has been fawning over Trevor after he shaved his mullet.
Okay,
so.
I can't wait to see it. That's what I thought about him. I'm like, he just needs a makeover. Like he has potential, but he's sweet. I thought he had a big heart. She really screwed up. I just think she wanted to pick the guy that Jessica liked. Like she wanted to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There was a really funny, messy moment as well that I want to touch upon. The moment where Chelsea comes back and Chelsea tells Laura, oh, he just told me he loves me. And Laura runs up to Jessica and goes like, Jessica, you have to leave. Can we talk about how absurd that moment was?
Yes.
Laura would not say, Jessica's like, why should I leave? And Laura's like, I can't tell you why, but you have to leave now for yourself. And like, I was like, can we talk about that moment? Because that was absurd.
It was weird.
Like, what was Laura doing there? Just like stirring shit up?
Remember
like,
that.
Is that what she's here to do?
Oh, yeah. Jessica's like, I'm not leaving. I got to go in there and tell him off. I'm here to be a TV star. Like, she was basically like, just leave for yourself. Like, walk out before you get embarrassed. It's like, wait, seriously? It was wild advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura's weird.
Very weird. And I'm glad Jessica stayed because she deserved that moment. She deserved to tell Jimmy off because I don't really like Jimmy. He just seems very... he gives me the
he's awful.
So
to me, he's the worst of all the guys on the show. I like that psychopath that might murder me more than I like
Matt. Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't know about that, Matt. There's something
I'd
off
hang
about
out
Matt.
with Matt before Jimmy. This guy's not good.
All right, so that is Jimmy, Chelsea, and Jessica. So I guess the last thing, we've kind of touched upon every couple, but I kind of want to talk a little bit more about when they all meet together, as I think we always get a lot of good moments with that. We touched a little bit upon that. So basically all the couples meet on episode 6 and they're essentially all getting to know each other for the first time. The girls are meeting the guys for the first time. Isaiah touched upon this a little bit. We get a very awkward moment where Jimmy tells Chelsea, like, he says AD is stacked, speaking about how AD has a very voluptuous ass, is what he's speaking about.
And itty-bitty waist.
And Chelsea basically gets super awkward and uncomfortable, and she tells the whole group, oh my God, guys, Jimmy just said AD has a big ass. And I'm like, hold on, what is going on here? She says she does it to like deal with the uncomfortableness of the situation and I guess try to laugh it off. And AD basically says, Jesus and squats. So shout out to her because she really do be working on that fitness. So shout out to you, AD. And yeah, like Isaiah said, AD kind of becomes the center of everyone. Everyone at one point goes up to talk to her. But I kind of just want to touch a little bit more about that moment. How did you guys feel that Jimmy and Chelsea, or Chelsea and Jimmy and AD, how was that whole situation handled? Do you think, how do you guys feel about that situation? Just a little bit more.
I mean, listen, AD is a baddie, so everyone's just obsessed with her. I don't think. I mean, it's really. I wonder how AD feels after all this because everyone was just so obsessed with her.
Sure.
You know, I think we already touched up on them, but Chelsea's just insecure about it, and Jimmy was like, let me go see what's going on. You know, he tried to work the little charm or something. He wasn't going to go nowhere. But yeah, I just. Whatever, like it happened. I feel like this was a classic case of too much to drink and self-sabotage. That's what it felt like, and we're gonna have to see what happens after this. Do you feel anything, Rawan?
Yeah, I mean, they were visibly drunk, but I think Jimmy handled it terribly. I mean, like it was so uncomfortable, and then him going over there and like eyeing her up and down right in front of Chelsea, didn't even notice she was standing like 2 feet away from him. The whole thing was an absolute disaster. One, what is he doing talking about another woman's body like that to start with? Just like that was already weird. Chelsea's reaction was also very weird, but it just escalated, and but then I was like, is AD flirting with him? And then I said, it can't be, because I will not stand for this. So I almost wanted to rewind, but I couldn't bear to see it again.
I think she's just too nice.
Was she? Because I literally got like a 1 second, ew.
No, I got that too. I got that too, Rawan, but I don't think it's because she's interested in Jimmy. Maybe she just, you know how some people are flirtatious? Maybe AD's just like, but I did get that, Rawan. You're not, I don't think you're crazy at all for thinking that. I also got that like, wait, is this a mutual like weird attraction? I hope not, but I don't think so.
I don't think so, y'all. Don't do
she's not attracted to him, but maybe it was weird.
But I got that moment as well, so that I just want to, agree with you on that, or Rawan.
But the whole thing was a total mess. The guy is a mess. Like, what are you doing, sir? Worry about this weird bald spot in your hair, not AD's beautiful body. And AD, I do love AD, but I do have to say, I think her eyelashes are too big. No? Is it just me? I worry that she can't see. I'm not sure. Maybe that's why she was flirting with him. Something was in her eye. I don't know.
You couldn't actually see who she was flirting with.
She couldn't tell. She thought it was Clay. But no, I mean, it was fun. Listen, Jimmy, as much as I hate him, I'm glad he's there, because I love to hate these people, and he's giving me what I need.
That's why Jimmy is carrying the drama at the moment. So I guess we got to give him props for that.
He's such an idiot. I can't wait to see what stupid thing he does next.
He does next, exactly. but speaking of stupid things Jimmy does next, in this episode, he does another stupid thing. So we get a moment where Laura, Chelsea, and I think Amy or one of the other girls are all chatting, and Jimmy goes up to the group, and Chelsea's visibly, feeling very awkward. She was telling the girls about how she didn't like the whole AD situation, and Chelsea says nothing. She's just sitting there, and then Jimmy's kind of flirting with those two girls as well. No. He goes, did you guys feel like you found your person right away? And they're like, yeah, 100%. And Jimmy's like, oh, really? Like, I wasn't even on your guys' list. So I also thought he also fucked up there. That was another very awkward situation.
You guys thought that was flirting?
Yes. He's so gross.
Oh my God. I'm so blind.
He thinks he's hot shit after those pods.
He really thinks he's the hottest thing.
Yes.
I'm so blind.
And then she was telling him he was hot. She was like, you're the hottest guy on the beach. Look at your body. I was like, is she okay? I mean,
why are you making this guy's head any bigger than it needs to be?
I mean, please, no.
I almost hope that when he meets Jessica knocks him down a peg. Like, he
Me too.
Needs that.
I hope she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you didn't pick me. I do not think you're attractive.
So that was another very awkward moment from Jimmy. But moving on from Jimmy, we then move on to another very, very awkward situation. So we move on to the group. There's a whole little group talking of Clay, Jeremy, and I forget who's the other guy there, but like 3 other guys are basically chatting. And AD comes up to the group to talk to Clay and talk to the guys. And Jeremy, for some reason, feels the need to share a joke that Laura said about something called bean dip, which I also have never heard about this.
Never.
I'm on Clay's team.
Never heard of
bean dipping someone. Okay. But for everyone who doesn't know, for the listeners, to bean dip someone is to slap their boob. And apparently Laura made a joke, like, go up to AD and bean dip her. And Jeremy thought it was funny, or he also for some reason wanted to share that with Clay and AD. AD and Clay get visibly like they feel very awkward about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you even joke about this man wanting to like touch me at all. Clay says he feels some type of way about the situation. AD then steps away and has a one-on-one convo with Laura, and they basically try to say like, AD says, I don't really feel any type of way, but it does seem Clay does. And you can't really police how Clay feels about the situation. Is basically how I got that she was trying to tell Laura. And then the guys are talking. They say they don't really care. But how did you guys feel about this whole situation? Do you agree? Do you agree with Laura that it was kind of like blown out of proportion?
One, I thought
Laura
this was
dead
funny.
wrong.
Real quick, Jimmy gives adult Bobby Hill. I thought that was hilarious. Go ahead, Rawan.
I mean, I thought Laura was the one that was being crazy about it. Like, it was weird that Jeremy said anything. And I don't even know that Clay was that annoyed by it. I think that AD was annoyed by it. I would be annoyed by it if one of my girlfriends told a dude to like grab my boob. I'd be like, what the hell? Like, that's weird. Why would you say something like that about me to your guy? Like, why would you even joke about me to your guy? I think that AD was actually the one annoyed more so than Clay. But I think Laura was like, she should have just been like, I'm sorry, I was stupid, and let it go. Yeah. Instead, she kept trying to be like, why would you say that, Jared? It was just like she kind of, but also maybe it was just drunkenness. But then I think Jeremy realized that it looked really bad that he's joking about like kind of like physically assaulting another woman. Like, I just think for him, it hit him that like he just said that on TV. It was less that he was mad at Laura. I think that's why he's like, I got to get out of here. But I think it'll blow over because I don't think any of it was actually serious. Mm-hmm. But once you're on TV talking about that, I think they all got a little bit sensitive. I don't like Laura. In case you didn't notice.
I felt the same way too. I'm just like I think AD definitely was feeling some type of way. Yeah. And you saw Clay was like matching the energy. It was like, wait a minute, yo, well, you know what I'm saying? So even like Laura, like when she went with the other girls, I forget her name. What's the girl with Johnny? What's her name? The boring couple. Amy. Her and Amy were like in the corner, like talking, like I can't believe he will blow this out of proportions. I'm like, I'm getting like flashbacks from the season with Irina and the other girl Micah. Like I was getting flashbacks. It wasn't exactly that, but I'm like, not the chattering about your significant other in this situation, you know? It felt a little weird. I just see this not working out, man, and they need to leave AD alone. I hope that like the future meetups, they ain't all on her top like that, because that was crazy.
Yeah, they're all way too obsessed with her body. The men, the women, like stop objectifying this woman. Weird. Okay, let her
weird. Exactly. Like compliment her once, and then let's move on, guys. Let's not spend so much time focusing on this woman's body. You know, so I agree with you on
it is a little cringy.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah,
very. But then we get, you know, at the whole end of this basically ends with, and it's kind of basically this pretty much brings us to the end of episode 6, where Laura is talking to Jeremy, and Jeremy says, I'm ready to go home. And then she asks him, like, what do you mean, home or home to the hotel? He says home, and he walks off, and that's the last we see of that. And that's kind of where episode 6 ends. We end up with them in turmoil. We end up with Chelsea and Jimmy in turmoil in the hotel room over the whole AD situation and how she doesn't feel that he really loves her. So that's kind of where we end on episode 6. We end on like a lot of like drama really moving into episode 7. So they kind of left us on good cliffhangers, I feel, to like really anticipate the next few episode drops. But any other thoughts you guys have about these episodes that we didn't touch upon? Do you want to touch upon with these couples, or what do you expect to happen moving forward?
I thought that the convo between Kenneth and AD was interesting. That was another one. She was really carrying this episode. Where she was basically saying, like, you know, asking about, are they prepared to like what the real world's gonna like bring to them with the interracial relationship and everything. And she brought up something that I thought was very interesting, because not a lot of people are brave enough to do this on TV, but it was a very important question. She was like, you know, like, will she know how to like raise like a black daughter or a son or something like that? That was a good question. Like this is some real stuff, because you know, that is something that is discussed a lot in the Black community. And I think that they both have like a very adult conversation that was coming out of all love, and there was nothing bad. She wasn't hating. Hopefully it doesn't get blown out of proportion, because if they showed it on the show, that means it's going to get brought up again at some point, right? So hopefully neither one of them felt some type of way. But I think Kenneth and AD definitely like had like it felt like a brother-sister combo a little bit, you know, like they was making sure that each other were cool. It wasn't anything malicious, and I thought it was good. It was good to see a lot of these black combos that we don't really see on the show. We usually get like a Kwame or something, and I'm just, I don't got a problem with Kwame, but like we don't usually get these, you know. So I'm happy to get to finally see it.
Yeah, that was a good conversation, and I can answer that for you. No, a 25-year-old is not ready to raise any child. So black or white or whatever.
Yeah.
Those two need to wait. They're too young.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I did think that was nice. And I thought it was like really sweet. Like they had a good bond. Kenneth seems like a really nice guy. So I just feel like he's going to be the like friend sounding board to all the other men in the like next episodes when they all get together. I feel that's who they're going to go to for like counseling. He gives me that vibe. He's like the counselor.
He's a principal. I feel like principals have some training in counseling and whatnot. But no, I'm glad you brought that up as well. Yeah, I thought that was a really great scene as well. And I think you brought up a good point, Rawan, that especially for someone who's I think Kenneth is actually the youngest man, but he does seem pretty mature for his age. And you know, I know earlier we touched upon is it for the cameras or not? It does genuinely feel like this is who Kenneth is. Like he is just for some reason. You know how people say old soul? It does seem like Kenneth is a much like an older soul, and he, you know, I feel like he actually like. As opposed to someone like Jimmy who doesn't think about what they say, I think Kenneth is a bit more self-aware and like thinks about what he's going to say and thinks about how his words or his actions might impact people. So I do hope that he does impart that into some of these men on the show, like the Jeremys, the Jimmys, who just seem to be making some like really rash decisions moving forward.
It's definitely interesting in back-to-back seasons. You got the youngest guy who's the most mature in the cast. Milton, and then now Kenneth.
How old was Trevor? He was also mature. And I feel like he was young. I don't know.
I can find out.
Yeah, I mean that Matt guy, the like American Psycho dude, he was like 38.
Yeah, and he looked it.
No, Trevor was 30.
Okay. Who do you guys of these couples? Who do you think's gonna make it down the aisle and say yes?
Great question. I'm hoping AD and Clay. I'm crossing my fingers. Now, hopefully nothing petty ruins this. I like it. Please stay together. Make this work in real life. But yeah, I'm gonna say those two.
I'm gonna say I'm interested to see where AD and Clay go. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sold on Clay. He's done some nice things, and I see growth in him. So I hope by the end that I am fully team Clay and fully team AD and Clay, because I think AD deserves someone amazing. Other than that, maybe Amy and Johnny, since they seem kind of boring. Maybe Kenneth and Brittany, if they can go deal with like this whole racial issue of raising kids, of being, you know, all of that. So I got two maybes and hopefully an AD and Clay, if Clay can convince me.
Yeah, I mean, those are the three couples I think will get to the aisle that are probably say yes to. I mean, AD and Clay, I don't know, I see them together. I don't know. I'm trying not to watch the previews because I feel like they give away too much. And I can tell, like, you can tell who people are by their bodies and their hands. I'm like, stop this. Stop showing us the weddings. So I'm definitely trying not to watch. But I think that Amy and her guy and Clay and AD, I think they're double yeses. We'll see. Kenneth and Brittany, I don't even know her name.
It is Brittany.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of them is going to say no. I don't know. And the rest are a disaster. They're already over.
We can all agree Laura and Jeremy, Jimmy and Chelsea are a wash. There's
They're
no
done.
hope.
They're already over.
0%.
I don't know if you guys seen the episode previews. Have you guys?
No, I'm not watching the previews.
I'm not going to say anything because I saw
tell
something.
me. I don't care.
I'm not going. Are you sure?
Yeah, I just don't want to know. I don't watch it because I hate when they show the wedding scene. Okay. I don't want to know who gets to the aisle, but I don't care about the rest of the stuff.
At the end of the last episode, there's a bunch of stuff going on, but the main thing, Chelsea is screaming at someone.
Yes.
You fucked her.
I know you
fucked her.
And then the preview ends, Rawan. I was like, give me the episodes now. Like, I need to know who she was.
I'm just like,
not Jessica.
Yeah. It's like, you
ego if he
fucker.
actually is able to mess around with
I'm
Jessica.
like, yo,
I will die
like-
if he hooks up with Jessica.
But yeah, that was the wildest part of the preview for me too, Isaiah. I wrote it down. I was like,
Wait,
that was-
what?
Yeah, I was like, yo, this is kind of insane. I don't know what's going on, but
Okay, I might have to watch this preview. I need to know who she's accusing that of. Maybe
yeah.
I think it's Jimmy. It has to be Jimmy because she's
it does, but
crying.
like, is he
and
with
yelling.
Jessica, or did he like hook up with Sarah, or
I
Or
don't
some
know.
like
Random, they met
outside
out of the bar.
person. Yeah.
You
or was it
fucked her. I
Megan
know
Fox
you
saw
did.
him and fell in love?
Megan Fox.
I mean,
Megan
not
Fox.
Megan Fox, MGK's girlfriend. I can't
Oh my
remember
God.
her name.
A mess.
I love the show. This is fun, guys. Thank you.
I'm excited, man. I'm
Let's
excited
go.
to see.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the next few episodes take us. You know, I think we have a good foundation of messy couples and potential love couples and people we might be rooting for. But if we don't have anything else to say about these 6 episodes, I think we can wrap up. So we can start with you, Rawan. We always like to ask everyone, where can the people find you, your thoughts, etc. Where can people find you, Rawan?
I'm not really anywhere. I'm on Twitter at being loud. At being _loud. That's it. There's nowhere else. I'm not doing any other podcasts, and I'm nowhere else.
I recommend you guys follow Rawan. Rawan, thank you so much again for joining us. Like, you've been a great addition. You've had some great takes, hot and not. But regardless, I'm loving your takes. So thank you so much for joining us. And I'm excited to see where the rest of the season takes us. What about you, Isaiah? Where can the people find you?
First of all, Rawan, I might have to get you on some other stuff because you're hilarious. But
Yeah.
we'll see. But for now, you can follow me at 8ball Bangers like usual. I'm not covering anything right now other than this, so I love it. But Big Brother Canada is coming up soon, so I'm sure we're going to be doing a whole lot with that, as well as I'm going to be on RHAP. Rob has a podcast this week talking about the next set of Love Is Blind episodes, so you can see me over there. I will be shouting this out, obviously, per usual. And if you want any other kind of coverage or keep up what we're doing over here, you can follow us at Silent Podcast or Silent _podcast on other social media platforms. And if you're listening on the audio platforms, like with 5 stars if you like what you're hearing. If you don't, just don't do it and wait till you hear something that you do like. But yeah, that is it. Javier, you want to close this out?
So fun.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, guys. By the way, you can also catch me on Sign the Traders, where we're covering the Traders US season 2. I'll be there every Monday. I'm there with Katie, and then of course you can catch me here every week with Isaiah and Rawan, where we'll be covering the rest of Love Is Blind. But we'll see you guys next week on Love Is Blurry. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, love.